Fishing kayaks, ironically, can be a huge distraction to being able to focus on fishing. Kayaking and all the things that can go with it can consume your time and your attention. But not to worry, you can tame your kayak. You just need a little bit of practice and the right equipment. So the mother of all distractions when it comes to fishing kayaks is being able to hold your position. Kayaks are always getting moved around by wind, waves, current, something. The obvious solution to that is to get a good anchor. An anchor is more than just a piece of metal, which is something I had to learn the hard way, like a lot of things, but that's a whole nother story. I started out trying to use a 3-pound barbell, which my kayak just bounced across the bottom of the lake. And so what would happen is I'd get just in the right position and start fishing, and then my boat would drift, and I'd have to pull up the anchor and paddle back around and get back in the good position and then drop the anchor, and then the whole thing would just repeat itself. So lots of frustration, not a whole lot of fishing, and quite a few choice words said along the way. It was a simple fix. I just got a 5-pound mushroom anchor for $15, and mushroom anchors are designed to dig in and hold better than a piece of metal or a barbell. I added a 1.5-foot piece of stainless steel chain, and that helps the anchor tip over quicker and dig in faster. A mushroom anchor works well for me. I fish mainly small lakes and ponds, and they have a lot of muck on the bottom, and the mushroom anchor just digs into that really well. That anchor's held in up to 20 mile per hour winds, which after it gets above 20 mile per hour, I don't really want to be out in the lake anyway. Mushroom anchors are commonly used with fishing kayaks. They're simple and they have a tendency not to get snagged, but they're not the only kind of anchor. There are different anchors for all sorts of different applications, like fishing in the ocean or fishing on a river that has constant current. There are different anchors for all those different kinds of things. And so the right anchor for you is going to depend on what circumstances that you typically fish in and what types of bodies of water that you fish in. I'll drop a link in the description of the video here about anchors. So the anchor is the most obvious part of an anchoring system, and you need some other parts and pieces that are associated with an anchor and holding your position to be able to effectively fish in a kayak. An anchor trolley is just a fancy word for a pulley system that runs along the side of the kayak, and then you can drop your anchor in the front, the middle, or the back of the boat and face whichever direction you need to face, depending on the wind or the current or whatever's moving the boat around. An anchor trolley is an essential piece of equipment when you're trying to kayak fish. I'm not sure why manufacturers don't include them as standard equipment, but they most often do not. The good news is that you can do it yourself pretty simply and for less than $50. You just need a couple pulleys and some pad eyes and some paracord. Another thing you'll need to manage while you're out fishing in your kayak is managing your anchor line. Back when I was using the barbell, I just had a pile of line on the deck of the boat when I'd pull the anchor up, and so I tried a retractable clothesline, but it just wouldn't consistently pull the line in, and then so I was always kind of fussing with that. And then on top of it, I still had to pull the anchor up by hand, and especially when it's cold, you have cold, wet line equals cold, wet hands equals distracted from fishing. I had to throw a little bit of money at this problem to fix it. I bought an anchor wizard. The low profile version worked for me. I think it works pretty well for kayaks. You can easily put 40 feet of line on there, but they're about $100, but it's a winch, and then you can just reel up the line and it stows it nice and neat. Takes care of a messy problem and makes it really a neat, tidy little solution. So it's worth the money. I got a helper to help me get through this video. All right, well, we'll just keep going. How about that? We're just going to keep going. Are you going to tell us anything, or am I just going to do this on my own? Okay, I'm on my own. The next set of processes that you need to figure out in order to get out in your kayak are how to get to the lake and then how to actually get down to the water. The old saying, getting there is half the fun, doesn't apply here. You just want to get there as quickly and painlessly as possible. Chances are you're going to find a way to get there, but if that process is a pain in the butt, it's going to deter you from being able to get out maybe as often as you could. The key is just to get your process down, figure out what works for you, and then practice it. So the next time that it's time to go kayak fishing, you don't think of it as all this crap you got to do. It's just easy, and then you won't have the tendency to just stay on the couch and watch TV. The first process you're going to need to get down is how to get from your house to the lake. If you're like most people, you're going to use your car to get your boat down there. You can do that just simply by tying it on the roof with some foam and some rope. It costs next to nothing to do that. You'll need to learn some knots if you don't know them already, like the trucker's hitch, and I'll drop a link in the description field for some of those knots to use on securing your boat to the top of your car. An alternative to tying the boat to the top of your car is to get a roof rack. There are companies like Yakima and Trolley that make roof racks that are made specifically for certain types of cars, certain models of cars. They tend to be a little pricey. They start at $500 typically, but they look good. They protect your roof and they provide a really secure mount point for your kayak up there. It is critical that you learn how to tie good knots and figure out how to secure your boat on your car. Otherwise, you could just have a disaster if it comes off your car when you're going down the highway. I secure my kayak with 2 cam straps and then bow and stern lines in the front and the back. That provides a very secure method for tying your kayak down on your roof of your car. I've had the boat out on the interstate at 75 miles per hour and it hasn't budged. So very secure way to do it if you do it right. As far as being able to get the kayak on or off your car, you can do that by yourself, or most people can. It doesn't really take that much physical strength if you do it right. And the way I do it is I tie a cam strap between the 2 rails on my roof rack. Then I set the nose of the boat up on that cam strap, lift just the back of the boat, swing it around and slide it onto the roof rack. And it took me a little bit of practice to get that down, but once I got it down, it works slick. It just takes me a couple minutes. It's not a strain on me to get the boat on or off the car really. And my boat weighs about 75 pounds without the seat or any gear in it. So it's, a fairly heavy boat. Once you get your kayak off your car, you'll still need to get it down to the lake. A cart is a good solution for that. Out of the carts I saw for sale, a lot of them didn't seem like they'd be sturdy enough to hold up a fully loaded fishing kayak. And then they were kind of pricey as well. So I wound up building my own out of PVC. I designed my cart around this great instructional video on YouTube that tells you exactly how to build a cart out of PVC. The problem was, and what I didn't realize at the time, was that plan was built around a narrower and lighter kayak than mine. So what happened in my situation was when I was getting the boat down to the water, if it hit a hole or an incline in the ground, it would tip over. And obviously a bad thing with all your gear in there. Got lucky that I didn't break a pole or rod or something. The solution to that was just to widen the cart so it was as wide or slightly wider than the kayak, and then no more tipping over problems, which was good. Another problem I had with my cart was I started out with 8-inch wheels, which didn't give me enough ground clearance. So I was getting hung up on rocks and logs and stuff like that. So I just put 14-inch wheels on it and it gave me plenty of ground clearance, and I've been good to go with the cart ever since. One other thing about my cart, I made it so it disassembles. And that way I didn't have to leave my cart by the bank all day when I was out fishing. The whole cart comes apart in less than 2 minutes, and then I can just stash it in the hull of the boat, and I don't have to leave it on the bank, and I don't have to worry about it all day. Another set of things that can distract you from fishing are fatigue and discomfort. A good paddle can help a lot with fatigue. Good paddles are light and they're adjustable, and so the light part helps a lot when you're paddling around, hundreds of strokes in a day. That difference in the weight makes a big difference. And then the adjustable part helps because it can adjust to your body size. It can adjust as you adjust your seat height up and down. And if you are able to stand up in your kayak, it gives you the ability to have a longer paddle. A good paddle is going to cost $150 or more. I got this paddle from Bending Branches. It's an Angler Ace, and I really like it. It was about $225. Very light, very sturdy, adjustable, great paddle. Your paddle, and when you don't have a pedal drive, your paddle is your motor and your steering and everything. So a good paddle is an important part, just not only from a fatigue standpoint, but from just an all-around boating standpoint. So that's it. That's my simple list of some things that help me be able to focus more on fishing and less on boating. Hopefully there were a few tips in there that helped you as well. So I sincerely thank you for watching this video and taking time out of your day. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I'd be happy to make some more videos if that would be helpful as well. So other than that, take care of yourself.